Love Beyond the Silence. Book 1 of the Love Beyond Trilogy. By Gloria James. She wanted a new beginning. He wanted to be left alone. Neither expected love to find them in the quiet. Carmelita only hoped for steady work and a safe place to hide from her past. Max Hollander only wanted order for himself and his daughter after his ex-wife's betrayal. But when Carmelita's kindness begins to heal Karen's wounded heart, Max feels the walls around his own begin to crumble. As love stirs where neither dared hope, the past returns, bringing custody battles, old wounds, and secrets Carmelita can't outrun. Now Max and Carmelita must decide, is love worth the risk, or will silence steal it all away? Chapter 1, The New Maid. The taxi rumbled away, leaving Carmelita alone on the sweeping drive. She adjusted the strap of her duffel, heart beating faster than she liked. For a moment she stood frozen, clutching the silver cross at her throat. "Please let this be a new start," she whispered inside. "Please." She drew in a breath, stepped forward, and pressed the doorbell. The chime echoed through the vast foyer, a polite but persistent knock against Max's solitude. He adjusted his collar, regretting the stubble on his chin, then opened the door. A petite young woman stood waiting, duffel bag at her feet, her nervous smile betraying both hope and caution. "Hi. I'm Carmelita," she said, voice bright but careful. "From the agency." Max's reply was clipped. "Right." He stepped aside. "Come in." She entered, clutching her bag as if it were a lifeline. Her sneakers whispered across the marble floor. The house gleamed cool gray walls, the faint tang of lemon cleaner, but what struck her most was the silence. In Manila, silence had been dangerous, arguments cut short, debt collectors at the door, neighbors holding their breath. Here, silence wasn't absence. It was presence. Watchful. Max closed the door. "Guest room's the first on the right upstairs." He handed her a printed schedule. "Meals at 6. I don't like noise." "I'll be quiet," Carmelita promised quickly, too quickly. Quiet had been her armor back home. Max studied her for a moment too long. "There's a little girl here. My daughter. Karen. She's particular." Carmelita's face softened. "I like kids." His jaw tightened. "You might rethink that." Upstairs, Carmelita unpacked in the neat, impersonal room. She set a small photo of her family by the window, her brother's mischievous grin, her mother's weary eyes, and pressed her palm to it. Comfort and ache entwined, a fragile reminder of everything she had left behind. Why now? Because Manila was no longer safe. Because she had to run. This was supposed to be a job. A chance to breathe. But something in this house whispered it would become far more. Her first meeting with Karen came sooner than expected. Carmelita was sweeping when a small voice rang out. "Are you the new maid?" She turned. A girl stood in the doorway. Wild curls, white hazel eyes, arms crossed tight over a glittery drama queen shirt. The scowl was too old for the pink leggings, but her restless shifting betrayed nerves. "I guess I am," Carmelita said gently. She smiled, steady but warm. "Hi, I'm Carmelita." Karen's chin lifted. "You won't last." "Oh?" "The last one left after 2 weeks. I made her cry." Carmelita crouched until their eyes met. "Then maybe it's my turn to try something different. What do you like to do?" Karen narrowed her eyes. "I don't like anything." "Then maybe I can help you find something." Karen's stare was unblinking. "Do you cook?" "I do." "Are you good at it?" "You'll have to let me know." Karen's lips twisted. "We'll see." By dinner, Carmelita served arroz caldo, chicken rice porridge, simple but rich with warmth. Max barely glanced at it, but Karen poked at the bowl suspiciously. One bite, Carmelita encouraged. Karen dipped her spoon, tasted, and blinked. "This is okay." Carmelita grinned. High praise. Max raised a brow. You got her to eat something other than mac and cheese? Small miracles, Carmelita said. For a moment, Max's lips twitched, as if a smile tried to escape but changed its mind. The tests began quickly. Towels hidden under the bed. A soup pot salted beyond saving. Loud whispers to stuffed animals, the maid won't last. Carmelita never snapped. She refolded, remade, carried on. Patience, steady and unshaken, unsettled Karen more than anger ever could. And slowly, the child ran out of tricks. One evening, Carmelita hummed a lullaby while scrubbing a pan. Karen doodled at the island. Max lingered unseen in the doorway. You know, Karen said, you're like a fairy. Carmelita laughed. Fairies don't usually do dishes. Well, you're a weird fairy. Something warm tugged at Max's chest, a feeling he hadn't allowed in for years. Later that night, Carmelita knocked on his study door with a tray. Tea? He blinked. You don't have to. I know. He accepted. Their fingers brushed. A spark. Karen seems calmer, he said quietly. She's sweet. She just needs time. Max hesitated. So do some of us. Their eyes held. Too long. Too much. After she left, Max stared at the cup in his hands. Warm. Balanced. Calming. The new maid was different. And he wasn't sure he was ready for that. Chapter 2, Cracks in the Armor. The house had settled into something resembling rhythm, no longer chaos, not yet comfort. Carmelita moved through the rooms like a quiet song, gentle, precise, efficient. She didn't chatter, didn't pry. She simply worked with a grace that felt almost old-fashioned, almost forgotten. Routine was her armor. In Manila, she had swept floors and folded clothes while neighbors' arguments rattled through thin walls, humming to drown the shouting. Silence became survival. And now, across an ocean, she carried that shield still. Every morning, she rose before the others. By sunrise, the kitchen already gleamed, garlic butter and warm bread softening the air. Karen was always the first to find her. Mischief clung to the girl like ribbons. One morning, Carmelita had just finished mopping when Karen strolled in with a cup of juice. She smirked and tipped it over. Orange liquid splattered across the spotless floor. Max walked in just in time, bracing for an explosion. But Carmelita only knelt, towel in hand. No worries. Accidents happen. Karen blinked, caught off guard. Not the reaction she expected. The tricks continued, laundry tossed out windows, sugar spilled like sand, toys hidden in drawers. Each move a challenge, you don't belong. Carmelita never snapped. She hummed softly as she cleaned, though her phone buzzed in her pocket. Mama, Anik, the landlord is asking again. Can you send something this month? Her patience held. But it cost her. Max noticed. He had seen maids buckle before, quitting after days. But Carmelita stayed, gentle as tidewater, resilient as stone. One evening, he lingered on the staircase, unseen. Carmelita sat cross-legged on the rug, slowly braiding Karen's wild curls. Karen, who usually wriggled and shrieked, sat still. Calm. Smiling faintly. Carmelita hummed a lullaby, soft and lilting, the notes carrying something of faraway Manila. Is this too tight? She asked. No, Karen murmured. It feels nice. Max's lips almost curved. He turned away quickly, before the smile escaped. Later that night, the house was still. Karen slept, her braids tied neatly with pink ribbons Carmelita had found. In the kitchen, Max brushed past Carmelita at the counter. Their fingers touched as she reached for the kettle. Sorry, she murmured. It's fine, he said too fast, stepping back. You didn't have to do Karen's hair, he added. She asked, Carmelita replied softly. Then, after a pause, sometimes kids act out when what they really need is comfort. The words struck like truth. Max looked at her, really looked. And you know how? her eyes didn't waver. I know how it feels to be lonely. The silence stretched. Too long. Too raw. Max turned away, hating that she saw him too clearly. He'd hired a maid. Not someone who could dismantle his walls. The next days brought small miracles. Karen's tantrums softened. She began bringing Carmelita tiny flowers, dandelions she called magic. One afternoon, Max walked in on them laughing over a puzzle. That sound, his daughter's laugh, felt foreign in his own home. When Karen ran off, he said quietly, "She likes you. She's a beautiful soul." "You're good with her," he admitted. Carmelita smiled, shy but steady. "Thank you." He wanted to say more. Too much. Instead, he retreated. That night, files lay untouched in his office. His thoughts circled her patience, her humming, her presence. He couldn't afford this. Feelings made men weak. But for the first time in years, he wasn't sure he wanted to be strong.
Chapter 3, Ghosts of the Past. Seattle rain traced silver streaks down the windows, soft and constant. Carmelita moved quietly through the kitchen, folding towels, humming under her breath. Max hadn't left his office all morning. Karen was curled on the couch with a blanket, her gaze fixed on an old cartoon. Carmelita set a tray of fruit on the coffee table. Karen barely glanced, but at least she didn't argue. Progress. 2 weeks ago, even the wrong color napkin had sparked a tantrum. Then muffled voices drifted from upstairs, Max on the phone, clipped and cold. Karen's head lifted. "Mommy used to yell up there too," she said absently, eyes still on the screen. Carmelita froze, then lowered herself onto the rug beside her. "Oh," she asked softly. Karen nodded. "She said Daddy ruined everything. Then she left. But, she still calls sometimes." The girl's grip on her blanket tightened. Her voice was flat, but her fingers twisted the fabric hard. Carmelita's chest ached. She wanted to ask more, but children revealed truths in fragments, and pressing would only scatter them. Instead, she smoothed the blanket and stayed beside her. Karen added in a whisper, "Mommy smelled like perfume when she yelled. It gave me a headache." Carmelita kissed her hair. "I'm here now." That evening, Carmelita stepped onto the patio to gather laundry. The air was cool, scented with wet pine. She startled when she saw Max already there, glass in hand, watching the trees. "Oh, I didn't know," she said. He turned. "Sorry. Didn't mean to surprise you." She smiled faintly. "It's your house." The silence lingered, not heavy, not empty, but waiting. She folded shirts slowly. "You ever feel like everything fell apart when you weren't looking?" he asked suddenly. Carmelita stilled. "Yes," she said after a beat. "I do." He looked out at the trees. "I built a life, marriage, business, the whole thing. Thought it was solid. Then one day, the floor just vanished. Same house. Same bed. Nothing the same." Her fingers tightened on the towel. She thought of Manila, of her own life bargained away in ink. But she kept quiet. "She left when the money dried up," he said, voice low. "Bad investment. Mia didn't sign up for struggle. She walked out on both of us." Carmelita's gaze flicked to the sliding door, where a child's scarf still hung forgotten. A faint trace of perfume clung to it even now. Ghosts lingered in small things. "I'm sorry, Mr. Max," she said. He gave a humorless laugh. "Don't call me Mr. Max, makes me sound ancient." "Old as in the heart," she teased. "Then I'm 80, he muttered. But his lips curved, faintly. Their laughter was quiet. Real. "I nearly sold the house once," he admitted. "Thought disappearing would be easier. But Karen, she needed something steady. I had to remember who I was before it all broke." "And who are you now?" Carmelita asked softly. He turned, eyes unexpectedly open. "Someone trying to be better. For her." For me. Her throat tightened. She wanted to tell him about the debts, the escape, the danger that followed her. But not yet. Instead, she said, Karen knows. Even if she doesn't say it. His gaze softened. You've been good to her. More than I hoped. Heat rose in her cheeks. She's a good girl. Just guarded. Like her father, he murmured. Their eyes held in the dim light, fragile but undeniable. Carmelita looked away first. I should finish laundry. He stepped aside. Of course. She walked in, heart racing. He stayed on the patio, memories pressing close. But for the first time in years, something else lingered too. Hope. Chapter 4, Breakthroughs. Morning rain drummed against the glass, steady as a metronome. Max sat in his office, contracts open but unread. The house was too quiet. No stomping feet. No demands for waffles. Unease prickled through him. He pulled out his phone, opened the nanny cam app, and froze. On the screen, Carmelita sat by Karen's bed, a cool cloth across the girl's flushed forehead. A tray of soup rested nearby. She hummed a soft Filipino lullaby, her hand stroking Karen's curls. Max's chest clenched. He hadn't even realized Karen was sick. Carmelita hadn't left Karen's side all day. When the fever first spiked, she had brewed ginger water, coaxed spoonfuls of broth, whispered prayers she hadn't spoken in years. Never leave someone when they're burning, her mother had said. And so she stayed. By evening, Karen dozed, fingers curled around Carmelita's hand. You've been here all day? Max's voice startled her. She rose quickly. Yes. Her fever's easing now. He looked at Karen, then at her. Guilt flickered sharp across his face. You should have called again. I didn't want to worry you. I should have known, he muttered. His hand lingered over Karen's hair, smoothing it back from her damp forehead. The gesture was clumsy, tender. Almost breaking him. Carmelita smiled gently. She's okay now. As she passed him, he caught a trace of lavender and honey. Something pulled at his chest. That evening, Karen slept peacefully, Bunny tucked under her arm. Max found Carmelita in the kitchen reheating soup. She looked tired, dark circles under her eyes, apron stained, yet she still smiled when he entered. You didn't have to stay all day, he said quietly. I couldn't leave her. She was scared. She trusts you, Max murmured. That's not easy. Carmelita slid a bowl toward him. Eat. You need it. He chuckled as he Saturday, you sound like my mother. She must have been wise. She was, he said softly. She would have liked you. She loved people who really saw others. Her throat tightened. Dangerous, this warmth. She turned quickly, fussing with the counter. Why this job, Carmelita? He asked suddenly. You're young. Smart. You could have chosen something else. She hesitated. Because I needed to get away. From things. He waited, but she offered no more. Sometimes a place holds too much sadness, she added. You have to leave, even if it means starting over. Max studied her. And are you still sad? She smiled faintly. Not when Karen hugs me. The silence between them warmed. Without thinking, he reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. She froze, breath catching. He pulled back instantly. Sorry. No, she whispered. It's fine. He cleared his throat. I'll check on Karen. She didn't watch him leave. But the echo of that touch lingered long after. And upstairs, Max lay awake, staring at the ceiling, unsettled by one truth. He wasn't supposed to feel alive again. Chapter 5, Late Nights and Longing. The clock chimed midnight. Rain pattered against the windows like a lullaby for the sleepless. Most of the house lay dark, except for the glow in the kitchen. Carmelita sat cross-legged on a stool, cardigan wrapped around her, cradling hot chocolate. Her hair was loose, a soft tumble around her face. She looked up, surprised but not startled, when Max walked in. "You too?" she asked with a tired smile. He nodded, reaching for a mug. "Couldn't sleep." "Karen?" "She's fine. Out like a light after you tucked her in." He poured cocoa. "She's gotten used to you." "I'm glad," she said. "She's complicated. But sweet." Max chuckled. "Complicated is generous." She grinned, handing him a spoon. "She reminds me of my cousin, used to throw tantrums over cereal." "You're good with kids." "Oldest of 5, she said. You learn patience or lose your mind." He stirred slowly, watching the steam curl between them. His voice dropped. "You're different." "Different how?" "Most people want something. You give." Her smile softened. "Maybe because I had nothing for a long time. Giving makes me feel human." He looked at her, really looked. "You shouldn't have had nothing." The air thickened. "To cut it," she teased, "in the Philippines, we say don't sweep at night, it sweeps blessings away." Max smirked. "Sounds like Karen with vegetables." Her laughter bubbled, bright and real, filling the quiet kitchen. When it faded, her chest tightened. Would he ever truly understand her? Or was she just a novelty in his world? As if sensing it, Max said quietly, "Strange how someone like you ended up here." She forced a smile. "Maybe the universe thought you needed shaking up." "Did I?" "Absolutely." They sipped in silence, this time comfortable. Then she asked, "Why haven't you dated since Mia left?" He stilled. "Because I didn't trust myself. She took everything, my money, my peace, my trust. I rebuilt for Karen. For myself, that took longer." She nodded, thoughtful. "And you?" he asked. "I wanted a new start. Somewhere no one knew me. To prove I could be more than what life told me I was." "Do you believe it now?" "Sometimes," she admitted. "When I'm not second-guessing." Their eyes lingered, unspoken things hovering. Max stood reluctantly. "I should let you sleep." She rose too. In the narrow hallway, her hand brushed his arm. Accidental, but the jolt was unmistakable. They froze. Her breath caught. His gaze dropped to where their hands nearly touched. The silence stretched, alive, trembling. He stepped closer, barely. She looked down, heart racing. "Good night, Max." "Good night, Carmelita." He walked away before he could make a mistake. On the bed, Max lay awake, staring at the ceiling, his skin still burning where she had brushed against him. In her room, Carmelita leaned against the door, pressing her palm to her chest. She closed her eyes and whispered to no one, "Don't fall." But it was already too late.
Chapter 6, The Confession. Rain tapped softly against the cafe window. Max sat in a corner booth, stirring his untouched coffee. Across from him, Jordan leaned back with his espresso, studying him like a man sniffing out trouble. "So," Jordan said finally, lips twitching. "You're in love with the maid." Max flinched. "Don't say it like that." Jordan smirked. "Fine. You're in love with Carmelita." "Better?" Max didn't deny it. "Couldn't. She's young. Kind. Too good. And I've got baggage." "You mean a house, a business, and a daughter who worships her? That kind of baggage?" "You know what I mean." Jordan leaned forward, voice lowering. "Max, I watched you crawl out of the crater Mia left behind. And now? You've got someone in that house who makes your kid laugh, who makes you look half human again. Don't shove her away because you think you're cursed." Max stared out the rain-speckled window. "I don't want to hurt her. She deserves someone unhaunted." Jordan snorted. "We're all haunted." The question is who's worth staying for. He sipped, then added, and don't be surprised if Mia comes sniffing around. People like her, he shook his head, they hate being replaced. Max's jaw tightened. The thought had already crossed his mind. Across town, Carmelita folded laundry in her room while video calling her cousin, Liza, back in Manila. I still can't believe you're in Seattle, Liza said, grinning. With a boss who looks like a movie star. Carmelita laughed, embarrassed. He's not that good looking. Oh, please. I've seen the pictures you accidentally sent me. Heat rose in Carmelita's cheeks. He's complicated. His ex-wife hurt him badly. He barely talks about it. But do you like him? The pause was brief but telling. I do, Carmelita whispered. More than I should. Liza's teasing grin softened. And you think he likes you back? Carmelita hesitated. Sometimes it feels like he does. The way he looks at me when he thinks I'm not watching, it's there. But then he shuts down, like he's afraid to breathe too close. Do you feel safe with him? Liza asked gently. Yes, Carmelita said quickly. Then softer, he respects me. He never crosses a line. But, sometimes I think he's terrified of feeling anything. Maybe he is. Men who've been broken take time. Carmelita's voice dropped. Back home, there was a man. Thrice my age. They said marrying him was the only way to pay what we owed. Her hands twisted the shirt in her lap. I almost didn't get out. Liza's eyes filled with fury. Lita. I ran, Carmelita whispered. But some nights, when I hear footsteps in the hall, I still wonder if the past will find me. Don't let fear steal this new life, Liza said firmly. You deserve more than debts and shadows. Carmelita forced a smile. I'm trying. But when the call ended, she sat staring at the folded laundry, heart pounding with old echoes. That evening, Max found her in the kitchen chopping vegetables. You don't have to cook every night, he said gently. I like it. It helps me think. He leaned against the counter, watching her hands move. You always know what to say to Karen. I don't know how you do it. I had a little sister. She'd act out when our parents fought. I learned that misbehavior is often just a child's clumsy way of asking for comfort. The knife paused mid-chop. Her words struck him harder than he wanted to admit. Karen, she lost more than a mother. She lost trust. Carmelita finally looked at him. But she's healing. She laughs more now. That's because of you, Max said, voice low. You've changed this house. You've changed me. The silence swelled, fragile, dangerous. He wanted to say more, so much more, but fear clamped his throat shut. Instead, he muttered, "Good night," and walked away. Carmelita stared after him, heart heavy. Later in his study, Max opened his phone and typed to Jordan. You were right. I love her. I just don't know how to say it. Jordan replied instantly. You already are. Every time you don't push her away. Just don't wait until it's too late. Meanwhile, Carmelita couldn't sleep. She lay on her bed, staring into the dark. Her heart brimmed with quiet hopes and unanswered questions. What if she was reading him wrong? What if he didn't see her that way? And worst of all, what if Mia came back, and he took her in? She wrapped her arms around herself. This job had become so much more. Max, Karen, this house, they were starting to feel like home. She couldn't stop the way her heart raced whenever Max was near, the way she dreamed of his voice and wished he'd just say something. Just once. Chapter 7, The Kiss. The storm arrived sudden and fierce. By evening, rain lashed the windows, thunder rattled the glass, then darkness. The power cut out. Karen's scream pierced the silence. Carmelita dropped the dish towel and raced upstairs. She found Karen huddled under her blanket, unicorn nightlight casting shaky shadows across the walls. I hate the dark, Karen whimpered. Carmelita sat beside her, pulling her close. "You're safe. No storm can touch us in here." Thunder cracked. Karen buried herself deeper in Carmelita's arms. The hallway creaked. Max appeared, flashlight in hand. His jaw was tight, but when he saw Karen curled against Carmelita, his face softened. "I'll bring candles," he said quietly. Minutes later, the three of them sat in flickering glow like a fragile family portrait. Carmelita hummed softly until Karen's eyelids fluttered closed. Max watched, chest aching, as if he'd stumbled into someone else's dream. When Karen was asleep, Max walked Carmelita to her room. Without electricity, the house felt older, every shadow magnified. At her door, he paused. Candlelight brushed her cheekbones, made her hair shine like silk. "I don't know what we'd do without you," he murmured. Carmelita looked down, flustered. "Karen's easy to love." "And me?" The words slipped out before he could stop them. Her eyes lifted sharply. "What about you?" "I care for you," he said, voice raw. "More than I should." The silence that followed hummed with storm and heartbeat. Rain whispered against the glass. He reached up, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His hand lingered warm, trembling. Her breath caught. "If I let this happen, I could lose everything." But when his lips met hers, the fear cracked apart. The kiss was slow. Tentative. Tender. His hand brushed her jaw. Her fingers curled into his sleeve. His scent, cedar, soap, something uniquely him wrapped around her. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against hers. Both of them were breathing fast, uneven. "Max," she whispered. "I know," he said hoarsely. "I shouldn't have." "Don't apologize." For a moment, the world was only candlelight, rain, and the space between their lips. Then he stepped back, retreating before he lost himself completely. "I'll see you in the morning." She pressed a hand to her chest after he left, her heart pounding. Karen had trusted her tonight, curled safely in her arms. If she lost that trust, if she lost them. The storm outside was easing. But inside Carmelita, the real storm had only begun. The next morning, the house felt breakable. Carmelita moved with practiced calm through the kitchen, though her hands trembled faintly as she poured juice. Her chest still burned with the memory of Max's lips, the way his breath had shaken against hers. She had sworn she wouldn't cross that line. "Now what?" Max entered quietly. Their eyes almost met, then she looked away too quickly. He clenched his jaw, ashamed of how badly he wanted to look longer. Karen chattered brightly about her school project, her little hands waving as she described glitter and cardboard. But halfway through, she frowned. "Why are you both so quiet?" she asked, suspicious. "Just tired," Max said quickly. Carmelita forced a smile. "Long night." Karen studied them a beat too long before returning to her toast. When Carmelita's fingers brushed Max's at the table, she pulled back as if scalded. His chest tightened at the rejection, but he said nothing. Inside, Carmelita's thoughts raced. If this is only guilt for him, I'll never survive it. If I mean nothing more, I have to stop dreaming. Max's gaze lingered on her bowed head. He wanted to reach across the table, to tell her the kiss had felt like the first time he'd breathed in years. But one more step could shatter everything, and he couldn't risk breaking her. Karen finished her toast and scampered off. Silence swelled in her absence. Carmelita rose to clear the plates. Max watched her, words fighting to be spoken, words he swallowed back down. Something had shifted. They both felt it. Neither dared to name it. But both knew nothing would ever be the same again.
Chapter 8, The Breakpoint. The doorbell rang that afternoon. Once. Then again, sharp, impatient. Carmelita wiped her hands on her apron and opened the door. A woman stood there, radiating perfume and power. Designer coat. Perfect hair. A smile sharp enough to cut. "Hello," she said sweetly. "I'm here to see my daughter." Her eyes slid past Carmelita as if she were invisible. You must be the maid. The word landed like a slap. Carmelita's throat tightened. Old echoes rushed back, duties, Anik, earn your keep. Mom? Karen's small voice floated from behind. Mia. Max's voice thundered from the stairs. But Mia swept inside anyway, perfume trailing like smoke. She dropped to her knees with a gasp rehearsed to perfection. Pumpkin. My darling girl. She clutched Karen tightly, tears glistening with precision. Karen hesitated, just a beat, before leaning in. Max's jaw hardened. You don't just show up after 2 years. I wrote you, Mia said, her voice dripping wounded innocence. You never answered. And barging into my house seemed like the better choice? If you want visitation, you go through the courts, Max snapped. Karen's anxious eyes darted between them. Are you mad? Max softened immediately. No, sweetheart. Just surprised. Mia rose, smoothing her coat. Her smile sharpened. Perhaps we should talk in private. No, Max said flatly. Say it here. Her gaze slid back to Carmelita, deliberate. Well, perhaps the help doesn't need to be part of this conversation. Karen stiffened. Don't talk to Carmelita like that. Mia blinked at her daughter's defiance, then tilted her head, syrup dripping into steel. So she's more than the maid, then? She let the pause stretch. Max always did have a soft spot for strays. That word sliced Carmelita open. Stray. And suddenly Manila roared back. The reek of sweat and kerosene. A creditor's hand slamming the table. Her father's broken voice, she is payment. She is ours. Different country. Same worthlessness. Max moved then, down the stairs, across the floor, his body sliding between Carmelita and Mia like a shield. Don't speak to her like that. She is family. The words should have lifted her. But instead, they pressed heavier. Because part of her couldn't believe them. Mia only smiled, cold as glass, and gathered Karen closer. We'll see about custody. Her eyes flicked to Carmelita one last time, dismissive, razor-sharp. And we'll see where the maid fits into all this. The door shut. Silence crushed the room. That night, Karen cried herself to sleep. Max paced the living room, muttering about lawyers and court battles. Carmelita stood at the sink, dishcloth twisted in her grip. Mia's words replayed. Maid. Stray. Soft spot. Later, in her room, she clutched her silver cross until her knuckles ached. Tears slid silently. Back home, I was a debt. Here, I'm just the maid. When will I ever belong? A knock. Carmelita? Max's voice, softer than she'd ever heard. She swiped her face, cracked the door. His expression was drawn, but his gaze, aching, tender. I'm sorry for what she said, he whispered. You didn't deserve that. Her throat trembled. She's Karen's mother. And I'm nothing compared to that. Max's eyes blazed. You're everything. Don't let her poison you. Her tears welled again. Maybe I should go. He froze. No. Don't you dare. Karen needs you. His jaw locked. I need you. Silence. Heavy. Charged. Carmelita shook her head, unable to hold his gaze. Good night, Max. The door clicked shut. She slid down against it, chest heaving, words echoing through her skull. When will I ever belong? Chapter 9, The Envelope. The house felt heavy the next morning, as if the walls themselves braced for impact. Carmelita folded napkins with brittle precision. Max lingered at the table, newspaper unread, coffee untouched. Every so often his eyes flicked toward her, searching, aching. Karen pushed her cereal around. Why is everyone so sad? Neither answered. At noon, a knock came, sharp, businesslike. A courier handed Max a thick envelope. Legal weight in his palm. He tore it open. Custody petition. Official. Signed, Mia Hollander. His jaw locked. She really means to take her. Karen looked up from her crayons. Take me? Where? Max dropped to his knees, clutching her tight. No one's taking you, sweetheart. Not while I breathe. But Karen's wide eyes darted to Carmelita, searching. Do I have to go with Mommy now? The question sliced through Carmelita, sharp and merciless. Later, while Karen napped, Carmelita gathered the papers from the table. Her eyes caught a seal embossed in the corner. A crest. A name. Her breath stopped. The world tilted. Memories slammed back, her father's weary voice, this is the only way. You marry him. We are saved. The creditor's smile. Her name scrawled like property. That same seal. That same manila firm. Her fingers trembled. They've found me. Max's voice broke through, low and furious. She thinks she can take Karen with a stack of papers. Over my dead body. Carmelita shoved the documents back into his hands, masking panic. What will you do? Fight, he said. I'll call Jordan. I'll find the best lawyers. She won't win. He was already pacing, already planning. For him, this was about Mia. For her, it was more. The past she'd fled had followed her here. That night, Max shut himself in his study with stacks of briefs. Carmelita sat by her window, the envelope heavy in her lap. The embossed seal glinted in the low light, sharp as a predator's mark. Back home, papers had been used to claim her. Now papers threatened to take Karen. She thought of the little girl's frightened voice, do I have to go with Mommy now? Tears burned. She lifted her silver cross to her lips. I won't run again, she whispered. Not from this. Not from them. Her vow cut through the quiet like lightning. The past had found her. And this time, she would not hide. When the past comes knocking, will love be enough to keep them together? Carmelita has vowed not to run again. But vows are tested when Mia's custody battle escalates, and when the shadows of Manila finally catch up to her in Seattle. Max is ready to fight for his daughter and for the woman who has begun to heal his heart. But loving Carmelita means stepping into her past, a past that could destroy them both. Their fragile family is about to face its hardest battle yet. Continue the journey in love beyond the storm, Book 2.
Thank you for listening to Book 1 of the Love Trilogy titled, Love Beyond the Silence. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and drop your thoughts in the comments. It really helps the channel grow.